All right. Good morning. Good morning. This is a wonderful morning. And it's why? Because you're here. We're all here. I got two good friends here, and we're going to talk about some 49ers, some Packers, and some Seahawks. We're going to talk about the last couple preseason games that we had. We're going to talk about some of these grudge rivalries and epic games that we've had. And overall, we're going to break down probably the NFC a little bit, maybe get a little bit into the AFC, get our guys' thoughts on um, any sleeper opponents out there or anything that we might be looking forward to seeing. So first off, let's say thank you everybody for being here. Really do appreciate it. John Jay, we see you, and we really do appreciate you. Um, Guys, last night I got to go to the Niner game.
Nice.
It was so much fun. I won tickets off East Coast Red and Gold. They are a fantastic YouTube channel. They have a great panel. The people are, when I like to try to say I would one day be able to emulate what they are doing because they have very comfortable, mature people that come on their show and talk, and they can just they all give each other time. Sometimes they cut each other off, but they're very very good at not doing it. And sometimes they might say things that they don't necessarily agree with, but they don't really show it so much where it's not like war. It's a cleaner debate. It's a cleaner discussion. So again, please go check out East Coast Red and Gold. But I got to go to the game, and I took Tony last night because we won two tickets, and we were right there at the back of the end zone. It was really really cool, lower level, really really nice fun time. And if you ever get to go, there's also a rally. So maybe if there's a Packer game coming up sometime soon, me and you can possibly go. Or if Joe comes down for a Seahawk game, we'll try to make the Red Zone rally. And this was totally, totally fun. My wife's aunt Deanna, who pops in the chat here every once in a while, more frequently than not, she's great. But she purchased these tickets, and they're really neat. It's just for like a rally. It's a barbecue, and it's if you know anything about the Niners stadium, we are adjacent to Great America. We share their
Yep.
parking lot. So what's funny about that is they've dedicated a little section and meet. They've dedicated a little tiny section for like group events and stuff like that. So during the game, they have their own personal roller coaster. They have multiple different places to eat inside this, banquet hall. And then outside they got places where you can, like kind of like carnival rides a little bit. You can throw a football or kick a football. So I tried to send everybody a video. If you haven't seen it, I'll get it to you. But I can't share it. So I was trying to figure out how I could save it on my phone to be able to put it on a video so everybody could see it. But I put it right up the middle. I did. I did. I'm happy. Like Niners found their new kicker, Moody who. So shout out to Corey, seeing you, Bebop. Thank you for being here. We got your boy Niner Faithful. This is TJ. I met TJ there. Um, really cool guy. No, this isn't TJ. Your boy Niner Faithful. Is that TJ? I get some people's names confused, but I met TJ and he has a podcast, Niner Faithful podcast, and um, I'll put the link down here later. Stevo and John Jay, appreciate it. So, guys, let's get into this a little bit. I'm going to break it down really quickly because I was waiting for David and Corey, but I'm going to give you my brief summary of what I thought happened for the game yesterday. The Niners look like the Niners. And the one problem with the Niners, I think you guys have seen this too, we even had the historic record of it. The Niners get rushed on. We can't stop the run. That's why they've been going over and over, defensive line for years. Like we went defensive line like 5 years in a row. They're trying to break down stop that run, and it's always right up the middle. So
Mhm.
other than that, yesterday I thought the Niners did really good. There was a missed field goal, extra point. My guy Jake Moody, he came in at the end and was able to win it. So I'm pretty happy about that. It looked really close. It looked really close, almost like he missed it. The special teams, I believe, muffed a punt. If it was, I believe it was a punt or a kickoff, but the other team was able to pick it up and there was a couple little things that we needed to clean up, but the team from Oakland to now definitely has seemed to put a couple more positions and pieces out there. They did run with their starters. Both Denver and the Niners ran with their starters, and they only got like one series. And the same thing, Joe. Russell Wilson, what does he do? Run right up the middle on us. Every time he gets everybody spread out and he ran right up the middle. He did that multiple times. And I'm like, this guy is just I was like, is it too late to say let's ride, Tony? And she's like, you don't say that, Bryant. You don't say that. I'm like, oh my God. I did. I got a little upset. But overall, it was great. Had a lot of fun. And that's my thoughts. I think Trey Lance looked a lot better. I think Brock Purdy came out. He looked pretty good, not afraid of what he was doing. And as far as like the running backs, we had a couple of running backs that looked pretty good. Mason, and then our wide receiver, I think Ronnie Bell's making the team. I really think Ronnie Bell's making the team. So I'm excited, really excited. And then our tight ends, that's the next thing I would like to say is they seem to step up as well. Our rookie tight ends, they had a fumble last week, and he had a nice catch this week. So that's my thoughts.
What? No thoughts on Darnold?
Darnold looked good. Darnold really did look good. I don't know. I mean, like, if you say too much about Darnold, people think you're a Trey hater. If you say too much about Purdy, they think you're a Trey hater. If you just talk about Trey, then you hate the other quarterbacks. And that's not what I'm about. I like all the quarterbacks. I was trying to tell them the other day, it doesn't matter who's starting, who's kicking, whoever's playing. Okay, if we're in the Super Bowl and you got Scuba Steve at quarterback, you gotta better believe I'm getting me a Sharpie out. I'm writing Scuba Steve on the back of my T-shirt, and I don't care if he's number 0 or 1, but I'm making me a homemade jersey, and I'm rooting for the guy. I don't need the jersey to root for him, but I'm rooting for whoever's there. I didn't want to see Josh Johnson go into the championship game last year, but when he did, I'm not, oh man, throw an interception, man. No, we're not rooting for that kind of stuff. We're rooting for him to do good. And at one point, we got the game tied 7-7. I just think he got scared out there. And when he got his head hit, he was like, "Oh, I don't want to get hurt," and he decided to pull himself out. That's a game decision, business decision. I understand it. So, Joe, let me give it to you now. I would like to hear a little bit of your thoughts. I think you had a Seahawk and Cowboy game last night. Is that true?
Yeah, I didn't go. I ended up just watching it on TV at my grandpa's house because we had a family reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there was like a 50-50 chance I was going to go. And then my wife was like, you probably shouldn't leave. They're going to be pissed at you. So I was like, all right, whatever. It's just a preseason game. But, yeah, our first off, I'd like to give some stars out. Boye Mafe looks freaking amazing 2 weeks in a row. I mean, he's in there on every play. I think he had 3 batted passes yesterday, and they were all against Cooper Rush. But, I mean, still, he started, 6 games last season, 5 games last season. Run defense looks like it needs work. It did not look as good as week 1 or preseason week 1. It seemed like they seemed a little lost out there. But then again, I did not see Mike Morris playing at all, so that could be a thing. Bobo looks freaking amazing. So last night he had a big catch in the first quarter, and then the second quarter, Pete Carroll chewed his ass out because he was jawing after the play, and he ended up drawing the flag, but he definitely started it, and Pete chewed his ass out on the sideline. They panned to it. But then he almost blocked a punt. The other guy blocked it, and Bobo knocked it out of the back of the end zone for safety in the fourth quarter. I think he had a couple other catches. I think he's definitely making the team, Bryant. Michael Jackson, our left outside corner last year, he played like the whole first half yesterday. He got cooked all game. He did not look good, which sucks because I love Mike Jackson. So hopefully he can get that back on. But on the opposite side of that, Trey Brown looked amazing over on the right side. He played all 4 quarters, first through fourth, and then he had a pick in the red zone at the very in the fourth quarter, I think it was. We're up 17-13, something like that. And he had a nice pick right in the end zone and saved a touchdown. So yeah, I mean that was another guy to watch. 98 Levi Bell, defensive end. He played opposite of Mafe, and sometimes he came in and played opposite of Derek Hall, but he looked awesome too. He ran a play as fullback on the from like the 2-yard line. One play, we scored a touchdown, so that was cool.
All right, yeah, I didn't notice the game too much because I was paying attention to my game. I got home and I seen some highlights and I was like, oh, I might have to watch that a little bit later because I like watching the games and like it's easier for me to watch more teams if I can say, hey, watch it in 10 minutes instead of sit there for like 3 hours because I don't really want to watch that for 3 hours.
I don't know how I forgot either. CarCast brought up JSN did have a touchdown. He's looking like the real deal, making catches in traffic. So that's good. Other than that, Gino looked just as advertised the first 2 drives. Didn't score a touchdown, but our left tackle, Charles Cross, needed to shore up his pass blocking a little bit yesterday. So, but I'm not worried. He played awesome all last year. So that's one of those things where it's like, it's just one preseason game. Don't freak out too much.
First off, I want to say hey to Corey. And then
Good morning.
Steve asked a question for you. I think it's directed to you.
Good morning, Joe.
How you doing, Corey?
And good morning,
Josue.
guys.
That's right. Yeah.
Josue. All right, let's see your name.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. I don't know why my name's not showing up, but it's fine.
Okay, so we have Steve-O. He asked a question. I think this is directed to Joe.
Yeah, he looked awesome. He kicked a career-long 57-yarder right down the middle yesterday. So I don't know if you saw that and you're asking because I forgot, but yeah, I should have wrote him down that Jake Myers booted a 57-yarder right down the middle yesterday. So that was
cool. That is pretty cool. All right, so this way, I know there's been one for sure Packer game. I don't know if you guys have played 2 yet, but what I seen out there is, hey, I got to say it, I'm starting to love that guy Love. I don't know if that's too cliche or weird, but you guys know I'm a Virgo. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I am a pacifist. I will pass that fist right back if I have to, right? But no, I'm not trying to start a fight. But Love, I've heard people say different thing, and I got Corey here. Corey's not a believer of Love. He loves Love, but just not Jordan. And what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Jordan Love, and how is he looking for the Packers? And how's
the Packers? The Packers played 1 game in 3 quarters because yesterday's game got suspended because of a severe injury. Not too sure how many people out there heard or watched. It's one of those scary situations that obviously you never want to see. Isaiah Bolden from the New England Patriots hit one of his own players. There was a collision as they were trying to make a play defensively, and then it did not look good. I'm not going to describe the rest, but obviously, both coaches and the league came together and said we're going to just suspend this because obviously, a lot of players are shook. Nobody wants to see a potentially career-ending, injury of any sort. Fortunately, just to address that real quick, Isaiah Bolden apparently did leave with the team this morning when the Patriots left out of Green Bay, so he is cleared to at least travel and probably get more support once he gets back home. He was reported to have feeling in his extremities, so he is able to move. So again, it's very similar to the DeMar Hamlin situation last year, where you just gotta pray for the best in that situation. But yeah, going back to the Packers, it's mixed. It's mixed. Going specifically on Jordan Love, because that's obviously gonna be the question that everybody's gonna want to gonna be looking at with the Packers, because you have the man, the GOAT number 2, essentially, Aaron Rodgers, who went to New York. So Aaron's like, oh well, how's them Packers though? How's them cheeseheads? And so obviously the question is going to be Jordan Love. And as much as that's my question, my hope, especially when you look at teams like the Niners, my hope is that the Packers defense gets better. And that's all I've wanted for a decade, because 2011 was peak Packers defense, and it's never been the same since. And that's all I want. That's all I want is defense, because it doesn't matter who you have in offense, because the defense can keep you in the game. But anyways, on to Jordan Love. I am very mixed on him. I was very hopeful after week 1 preseason. I was like, okay, he's looking all right. He was a little shaky on the first drive. But the second drive, he put it together. I'm like, cool, great, thanks. And then they pulled him out. I'm like, man, I just want a little bit more time. I get it. Nobody's really starting their starters like that. But like, I think for the teams who do have somebody who's relatively new, like you gotta like just push them just a little bit more now that we only have 3 weeks of preseason versus the 4 we used to have. Like just push that a little bit more, because you want to be a little bit more confident going into the regular season. So yesterday though, again, it was, to me, in my opinion, less impressive. I don't have the stats in front of me. I looked at the stats last night, but it was less impressive. The surprising one for me is our backup, who I didn't expect much of, but Sean Clifford has been looking real good. Real good. I've been super impressed. So in the overall picture of things, if something was to happen to Jordan Love, knock on wood, hopefully not, Sean Clifford's not that bad. Beyond that, everything else has been fine. Packers have the same situation that the Niners were having that you mentioned, Brian, about we can't stop the run. We haven't been able to stop the run. We've never been able to stop the run. Like even 2011, but again, peak Packers defense couldn't stop the run.
2011, 2012.
Yeah, and it's been like that since. Like, and we saw that in yesterday's game. Like, we just got ran on, and you hate to see it, but as a Packers fan, you're just used to seeing it. So you're just like, well, it's another year. But really, for me, the standout would be like the rookie tight end Luke Musgrave, who I am very excited for, happy for. That's something the Packers haven't had really. I guess we've had some decent tight ends, but none of them really have stood out. And I can only hope that the relationship between Musgrave and whoever, between Love and Clifford, hopefully Musgrave can be like that tight end that stands out to save them when they need saving. So he's made some pretty good plays in the first 2 weeks here of preseason. So really excited for that. Romeo Doubs is stepping up as that wide receiver too. So again, we're also excited for that as well. And that's really been about it. Like our defense is the one that's been making plays these last couple of weeks, at least in terms of turnovers and stops. So I know I was just complaining about we can't stop the run, but at least when you go to throw, at least it's decent. So we take what we can get.
Okay, I want to know about your kicker. I know you guys.
Oh yeah, man, he kicked a 53-yard yesterday. I was like, let's go! Like, I mean, kickers are players too. Okay, everybody, kickers are players too. And so I saw that he had that 53-yarder, I believe it was, and I'm like, and it was great the whole way through. There was no question down the middle. I'm like, let's go! Like, I was just like,
Crosby still.
No, so Crosby's out. So we have Anders Carlson our.
I think I saw. Never mind. I think I saw Grossi tweeting about Carlson yesterday. 3 for 3. Yeah.
And so because again, like I mean, obviously Crosby has a soft spot in my heart. Like again, like I'm always for my kickers because like this is gonna be controversial. I'm sorry, everybody here, everybody. Dan Bailey used to be one of my favorites for a while. Like Dan the Leg Bailey. Like he was good. But anyways, no, I'm really excited for Anders. Again, that 53-yarder. So that means I am confident that as long as the team can get halfway down the field, we're all right. So you're telling me there's a chance.
There's a chance.
You think if he makes a team, he's just gonna go by Durs because he thinks he's cool now?
I mean, he might. I mean, they might already call him that, like in the locker room.
All right. I'm assuming he's white, correct?
What was it?
I'm assuming he's white, correct, Carlson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Durs would be a total white nickname.
Yeah.
There was 3 kickers, I believe, that was drafted. 3, I believe there was 3, and it was the Niners, Patriots, and it was the Packers. I don't think there was another kicker that was drafted, if I'm correct. And but yeah, all 3 of those guys, really good kickers. The Patriots, I can't think of his name right now, but David McNiner, he was Chad Ryland. I think that's his name.
That sounds right.
And David was really excited about him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with New England. So Corey, I kind of give my little synopsis, my little what I thought was happened, my spiel about the game. Can we hear what you think happened during the Niner-Packer game, not Packer, Niner-Bronco game last night? What's your little recap, and how do you think we did overall?
We did much better than we did against the Raiders. So I like some of the improvement. Still got to work on stopping that run.
That's the same with the Seahawks, too. We had, week 1 of the preseason, we looked like we could, we finally shored up everybody's filling their gaps like they're supposed to. And then last night, it was like, oh my God. It's like we took 1 step forward and 2 steps back because it did not look good.
But overall, it looked good. Trey had a pretty good game. He comes in, kind of slow first, then he gets going once he get warmed up. Brock Purdy, he looked good. I loved it. I was praying for him, like, oh God, hope they don't put our backups behind him because he's gonna get killed out there. I was glad to see the starters, and Sam Darnold, he did pretty good too. Oh boy, what's our wide receiver name? What's his
Ronnie
name?
Bell.
What's his name? Ronnie Bell.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't come on. He looked good, but he did get another tip-up pass for an interception. But he had a good game yesterday. I was so happy, and I know I was on John Jay's. We were doing the play-by-play, and I said when they drove down the field and let Jake Moody do the winning kick, I said I know Brian's happy right now. I wonder if he's in that angle where the end zone where that was happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know, but I wanted a touchdown.
Yeah.
I was so worried about Jake Moody missing that kick. I was like, I want a touchdown. Let's go for the touchdown. But No Border Sports was on there too, and he was like, "No, Corey, this is the time to give him that chance, put him in that situation."
Yep.
And I said, "Yeah, you're right. I just want a touchdown."
Yeah.
But it was a good game, And I heard that next week, Friday, Brock is starting again.
Oh wow.
Coach Kyle said the starters will be out there Friday. I was like, all right.
Wow, that's gonna be something. David, thank you for coming. Good morning.
Good morning. What's up, Corey? What's up, Joe? Is it Hoseway?
Yes.
Useway?
That's right. Hoseway, yeah.
Okay. Hoseway. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good of you.
So we kind of went around the table a little bit and talked. Joe and Josue right here are different fans. They're Seahawk and Packer fans. But could you give us your breakdown of what you thought about the game last night?
I thought they let Sam Darnold have a lot of snaps. And I'm looking at that like, why is Kyle doing that? But he's trying to teach him the offense and get him acclimated to the team.
Mm-hmm.
He's planning for the worst case. You know, he's only had one season where he's actually made it through the whole season with a healthy quarterback. So, and that's just my opinion on why Sam Darnold got all those, reps. The defense looked a lot better. Our offensive line, the backups still have some work to do, but a lot of those guys are young and learning. Feliciano and Pryor have no excuses, though. They're NFL vets. They need to do better. But that interception that Sam Darnold threw, it was tipped, but that's 100% on him. He threw it behind the spot. If he would have thrown it, if he would have thrown it, say, to his left about 2.5 to 3 feet, Ronnie Bell would have been able to snag it. But instead, he threw it to the point where it went off of Ronnie Bell's shoulder, and it was an interception. He literally threw it behind where he was supposed to throw it. So that's 100% on Sam Darnold. And then, just seeing, the interception Trey Lance threw, he probably shouldn't have thrown it at the hands of a defensive lineman, but he's young and needs reps. So, I'll give him a gimme on that one. But Ronnie Bell, if he doesn't make this team, I'm going to grab my pitchfork and torch and I'm heading for 49ers headquarters. Because he had 7 catches for 114 yards. The guy is playing, he is going to be a solid wide receiver in the league, in my opinion. And we definitely need to keep him. Our special teams unit, boy, they got some work to do. All they can do is improve. That's just what they need to do. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Control the ball, guys. If you're going to catch it, catch it. We can't have anyone pulling a Kyle Williams here. So,
and the trade interception, I think it was just a great play from that defensive lineman and the other guy looking up, following the ball.
Yep.
So it was just good defensive play. I think the defensive player just made a good play.
Yep. Did you guys see when Trey Lance threw that touchdown pass to Latu? Did you see Debo and all the starters and a lot of the guys that weren't in uniform anymore come onto the field? They got a set penalty. But Did you see how they all reacted? It's kind of like, there's a lot of reporters that go, oh, Brock Purdy has the locker room. This. Okay. If that's the case, why are our starters reacting like that to Trey Lance? When it comes down to it, they're all teammates. They're all on the same team. I don't think anyone has the locker room locked up. The locker room's all about the 49ers winning games.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that because I don't think there's a favorite. I think they look at it like, hey, I might like this guy. We might hang out and play video games or, we might go to a club or something with this guy or that guy, but we're all a team. And when we're on the game, we're in the game and we're playing together, it's whoever's on the field, we're going to embrace them and move them up. We're going to get behind them. And I think they are very proud to see Trey do good because I don't think they want to see the guy go anywhere. He's been on the team for a while. It's like going to school with somebody, you go to school with them 3 or 4 years. It's like, and you've had classes with that person. You're like, hey, you're kind of more or less my brother. And unless mom and dad get a divorce or you got to move out, you're my buddy, right? So I think it was really nice to be able to see them come out, definitely come out. And you got to kind of imagine it too. Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, well, not Sam Darnold, Trey Lance have been on the team for a little while now. Sam Darnold's the new guy. Yeah, and they are giving him some reps and stuff to make sure he is seasoned or ready to go, because I think that's going to be the 3 quarterbacks. But they are very, very proud of Trey Lance improving. He's got a lot of – the difference in this game than I seen in the Raiders game is he came out faster. And I know Corey said, it takes him a little bit of time to warm up, but they had him throwing quick, and he was stepping back a little bit, and they did mix it up with some runs too. So I was very happy to see that. We weren't getting a lot of chunk runs, but we did get a couple runs, and that really did help. So,
You know what kills me down? Why is people, mad at Trey because he got picked, that the 49ers gave up all his draft picks. And I'm like, it's not Trey's fault. He didn't say, give up all these draft picks for me. People are blaming him for that. Oh, Trey's a bust. We gave up all his picks. He should. I said, it's not the man's fault. Don't be mad at him. You should be mad at the organization. You should be mad at the people that did it. If you're so concerned about the picks, don't be mad at the man. You can't be mad at him. He didn't do nothing. He didn't make that choice.
Well, I think this all kind of like goes back to like what Brian was saying at the beginning, where like as Niners fans, like you guys are so split between the quarterback situation, whereas me as an outsider looking in, I'm like, wow, you guys got 3 pretty decent quarterbacks. Like, sure, there are varying skills. I'll admit that much. But at the very least, there should be no concern that if one of these 3 guys is your guys' starter as a team, you guys are looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, like, it's just so surprising as an outsider looking in that it is controversial to just be like happy as much as you guys can have your favorites. Like, not everybody's going to be a Jordan Love fan. It is still surprising though that it's so polarizing on the quarterback situation.
Well, to be honest, Jordan Love actually played college ball an hour and 15 minutes away from where I live. I got to see a lot of them play. And the whole time in college, I was like, he's got a strong arm. He's got all the athletic traits. He needs to work on his decision-making big time because he threw a lot of interceptions in college.
Yeah.
So it was one of those. I didn't even see him being a first-round pick. I thought he'd be like a second-round pick and sit behind someone for 2-3 seasons because that's what he needed. He needed to be coached up. But, Green Bay picked him in the first round. I was honestly surprised to see that. But
so are a lot of people.
None of us knows quite what he's going to do. The season hasn't started yet. We're going to find out this year, though.
Yeah.
You either love or you will hate him. That's just what
it's a good year of headlines.
You've been a little bit quiet, and I know, again, you're a fan looking in from a different perspective. So what's your thoughts on the Jordan Love situation? He's been there. He almost set for 4 years, just like Rodgers. 3. Okay. So what's your thoughts, Joe, on Jordan Love? Do you see him being decent? Could you see him on another team doing something different, or is it just too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell, but I think that this is kind of a personal thing. I think it's funny. I freaking hated the Packers when Aaron Rodgers was on the Packers because I hated Aaron Rodgers. Now that Aaron Rodgers is on the Jets, I don't mind Aaron Rodgers so much, but now that Aaron Rodgers is off the Jets, I finally like the Packers, or is on the Jets, I finally like the Packers again, so it makes no sense. I just think it was time to cut ties with him. I think it was a toxic relationship. But yeah, I think Love could come in and do really good. I think Love could come in and shit the bed. I won't be surprised either way, if that makes sense. Like, nothing's going to absolutely shock me with this guy.
Yeah, and I would agree with that because, like, on the reverse, like, I used to hate the Seahawks again. And I mentioned this last time I was on here with Brian. I'm like, again, I still think about the interception, not interception, touchdown pass so long ago. I'm never
It
going to let
was a
that
regular
go.
season game, though. It was a regular season game.
And so, I hated the Seahawks after that. That I was like, and like Pete Carroll, hated Pete Carroll after that game. But I think because of time, I'm definitely much, less angry with the Seahawks. Like I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. Although I am sad that Marshawn Lynch is not there. Obviously, like I always love watching Marshawn Lynch play. Like one of the best. But no, I would agree with that. Like I personally can't see Jordan Love really being anywhere else unless somebody else sees something that we don't see. Like I would agree with David on like the assessment there of like I think from what everybody said, like it is surprising that the Packers picked him up in the first round. It was surprising they picked up a quarterback whatsoever because none of us thought, oh yeah, we should get one. And then going with what you said, Joe, about the toxic relationship, like I think that's ultimately what it was because I don't think Rodgers really coached Jordan Love all that much. And so whereas like when Brett Favre was on his way out, you did see Brett Favre talking, coaching, however you want to look at it, with Aaron Rodgers.
He didn't want
Was that?
to. He didn't want to.
He didn't want to, but there was communication nonetheless. Whereas Rodgers really just bare minimum with Love, and I think that's why, like for me, like we can kind of already see it. I know it's only preseason, but like Jordan Love again hasn't looked the best so far. Whereas like, but again, we might have to give it a little bit of time. But again, I'm still not too concerned because again. Like I don't want to say like in Clifford we trust, but at the very least we have a decent backup. So I'm not pushing the panic button yet.
Okay, I got a question because I kind of like this quarterback. I don't think Joe likes him too much. So, Joe, would you be okay letting Drew Lock go? And Josue, would you be okay with Drew Lock coming to the Packers as a potential backup or starter?
Bro, Drew looked good yesterday. I don't know. Drew Lock's one of those guys. He's like, okay, his good decisions he makes are Brett Favre light. Like they're not as good as Brett Favre, but he makes good decisions like Brett Favre. Okay. His bad decisions, exactly like Favre, but double the amount of them. Okay. So it's just, yeah, if you got Locke, it would be like having Favre again, like on the bad side with the interception. I mean, he turns the ball over way too much. So,
hey, shout out to
Joe
Randy.
ready to get rid of him.
Shout out to Randy Daytona. I'm not gonna read it, but you guys can see it. And Randy, you're great, dude. The game was awesome. Thank you for coming. Randy's my buddy.
yeah, I forgot to ask you, how are you feeling this morning? Did you have a couple beers last night, or?
Okay, so I got there to the game. We had a couple beers at the game. Spent more money on beer than I ever wanted to. But I realized, wow, they really quadrupled the price of one can. But
How
I
much
bought
is
a
a
couple.
can there? Like $13?
Oh my god, it was like $20.
Oh, see, the Seahawks game for a 16-ounce can is $13.
Did you guys see the pictures of like how much food you could get at the Atlanta Falcons game?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dude.
Sorry, I didn't want to derail you, Brian.
No, I've said this multiple times. These guys are probably saying this. Atlanta has the best fan like atmosphere. If you drop your soda cup walking from the fountain drink, you can go back and get another one. You buy your big fountain cup and you drink it all. You can go back and fill it up. No one's standing there, like guarding, you can't get soda. No, like I want to buy something and I want to have like, an easy, I don't want to be a pig, I don't want, but, geez, like I get a big cup of soda, right? At the movie theaters, I typically can't finish it. So if you can finish the whole soda cup, okay, more power to you. Go get you another one, right? Walk out of the stadium with it. That's fine with me. Same thing with the big bucket of popcorn. Make it absolutely enormous, so I don't have to get up during the game again. I mean, like the hot dog can be that big. I don't want to get up again during the game, unless I have to go to the restroom. And the whole experience yesterday was awesome because everywhere you did go, there was TVs, and it was awesome. So yes, Randy, I had a bunch of fun, and I did try the Gold Bar whiskey real quick. So this is the Gold Bar whiskey. This is the Dwight Clark, decorative one. And at the stadium, they have Gold Bar whiskey, and I got a shot of it. I actually had a double, but it was a lot of fun.
So how are you feeling this morning is the question.
Oh man, I woke up. Well, I didn't go to sleep until 2, and I didn't really drink a lot before the game or anything like that. So I just drank a couple of beers during the game, and we were there for a good period of time. Came home, and I was still up till like 2 o'clock. So I was like, just enjoying everything. I watched the replay a couple times. I watched my video, my kick again a couple times. Super excited. I just man, I shredded that ball, and so I had a lot of fun. The girls weren't quite ready to go to bed when I got home, and just again, it was just a great day. But
can I ask Josue a question?
You most certainly can.
So do you know the last time the Seahawks beat the Packers in Green Bay was?
God, I mean, that had to have been what, like early 2000s?
1999.
Okay.
Do you know the last time the Packers beat the Seahawks in Seattle?
It also has to been a long time.
Well, 2008. But
2008, yeah.
Basically, with the one thing I kind of admire about the rivalry between the Seahawks and Packers is because those teams hate each other. I mean, they really do. It's not as much now as it used to be like 4 or 5 years ago. But whoever was the home team was winning that football game. I mean, it's been like that. Like I said, since 2008, it hasn't changed. So we're coming up on 15 years since either one of us. And we were both finishing first in our division almost every year. So we were playing each other every year. Yep. So, are you from Green Bay or what?
Nah, so that's the funny part. Like, like I actually went to school, Brian, and everything. Like born and raised out here in California. I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it quickly because again, if there's anybody new in the audience, but like for me, so like the way how my parents raised my brother and I was like, they're like, oh yes, live your life. We weren't really imposed on anything when you talk about religion, sports teams, whatever. If there's a belief, a side that can be chosen, they didn't really force us to choose one. So like my dad, born and raised in Puerto Rico, I think when he joined the U.S. Army, something about him being in the Army made him a Cowboys fan. And then I don't know why, but my mom, born and raised in Panama, was a Miami Dolphins fan. Like mostly it was Dan Marino. I'm just gonna be honest. It was Marino. She loved Marino, and so she just stuck with the Dolphins since. So they didn't really like force my brother and I to like really like pick teams. And so growing up in California, Northern California, like I was like, okay, so for the most part, I always rooted for the home teams without really a reason, because it's not like my family rooted for them. So it's just like me, but like, yeah, the Niners are like, I see the Niners. I didn't really see Raiders fans because Stockton, for the most part, I think is more Niners than it is Raiders fans there. So I rooted for the Niners. There was Steve Young was a quarterback at the time. And then that's when I think it was like 96, 97 is when Green Bay came into town, into San Francisco. And then Brett Favre had just become the starter there. And so he was just having fun. And for me as a kid, seeing Brett Favre just play, I'm like he just was having the time, was just jumping around. It was like very unorthodox from what you see from the quarterback position at that time, because up until that time, most quarterbacks was very much business as usual. It was, you had your poise, your decorum, and Aaron Rodgers just jumping around. Brett Favre just jumping around, like cussing up and down the field. And I'm like, I can relate to that. As a kid, I can relate to just the rambunctiousness. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I like him. Let me look into the Packers, and then saw the history, and like reading about Lambeau, I'm like, and Lombardi, I'm like, oh yeah, like they got some rich history going on here. I am about this, and so that's when I was like, okay, my decision is I'm going to be a Packers fan, even though it's weird. I've never been. Like that's my bucket list is to go to Lambeau one day. I will never be able to. I'll never be able to go to like a game because I just saw like 150,000 wait list. So just gotta hope and pray. But I can at least do like a stadium tour, like off season.
No, dude, I guarantee you. I guarantee you, me and you will make it to Lambeau to watch a Niner Packer game. My uncle goes all the time. We can get tickets. We definitely can get tickets. We will plan this in future years to come. We will fly from Sacramento or we'll fly from Stockton, whatever we got to do, but we will get there. It'll be me and you, Jay.
So me and my dad were supposed to always go to Lambeau Field just because, because of the history of it, because it's a cool stadium, And he passed away. We never got to do it because he was in a wheelchair for 10 years before he passed away, and traveling was just not an option. So he passed away about a year and a half ago, and his best friend came up to me and he's like, hey, mark your calendar. We're going to Lambeau Field this year to watch the Packers and Lions on Thursday night. So I think it's September 28th. And then it works out perfect because the Seahawks play Monday night that week. So we're going to go to Lambeau Wednesday or go to Milwaukee Wednesday morning, drive up there. And it'll be – that's on my bucket list. Yeah, we're going to do a stadium tour and then go to the game and then go to the bar and then go home. So, yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
So you guys were talking about the Packers versus Seahawks. So what year did Matt Hasselbeck goes, we'll take the ball, we're going to score?
That was 2003.
Yeah.
I was watching that game. I got the joke, though. I was laughing so hard. I got the joke. I knew he was just messing with his old teammates,
Yeah, and you got to think, Holmgren left.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. Holmgren.
Yeah, the head coach, too, left Green Bay to go to Seattle. So it's like.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that was the Holmgren era. I was like, oh, man. I wasn't upset about it. I was like, this is business as usual, really. But so many Packers fans were so upset about Holmgren being with the Seahawks. I was like,
well, the reason he left is because he got offered the job to be the GM as well as the head coach for the Seahawks in 1999, and then he realized he couldn't do it, so he ended up, I think 2001 or 2, he ended up just being the head coach again. So it's the same exact situation as Green Bay. But Holmgren's awesome. He comes on the 93.3 every week. He's on the radio. He still lives in Kirkland, in Washington. So,
Corey, you got a bucket list? Do you have a stadium that you want to go to?
No, only stadium
Corey's just strictly Niners.
I go to is Levi and it was Candlestick.
Yep.
I don't want to go to Oakland Coliseum when they was there. Only went to watch the A's because we took the kids on a field trip. I'm a before and after school teacher, and we took kids on field trips, so we took them to the A's game. That's the only time I've been to some other stadium, Oakland Stadium. I didn't go see the Oakland Raiders play. No. My only bucket list is to meet Jerry Rice.
Ooh.
I would love to meet Jerry Rice.
All right. Same question to you, David, Mr. McNiner. What stadium, other than San Francisco, Levi's, Santa Clara, what stadium would you like to go? And you can give me a couple, but what stadium?
I would honestly like to go to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Arlington to watch like a 49er Cowboys playoff game.
Well, apparently, like a lot of
And
Niners
I'd
think
also
that way.
buy stock in
'Cause-
TVs before I go down there too, though.
Alvarez, same question. Where would you like to go? Other than Green Bay?
Man. Okay. This will be controversial, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I think the only other place I would like to go to, because I've been to Levi's Stadium.
Mhm.
I think the only other place I would really like to go to, well, I guess like there's two places for two different reasons. One place I would like to go to would be Chicago, just to be there because, forget the Bears, So like I just don't go there just for the rivalry's sake. But the other one that I would like to go to, but more because of like how it looks, would be SoFi Stadium, because I think SoFi Stadium looks really cool, and so I just want to go just to like check it out, because I think as we see a lot of these newer stadiums come about, like again, that's the reason I wanted to go check out Levi's, is because like you see all these newer stadiums, it's like a lot goes into them. Like same thing for arenas and sports too. Like I do want to check out where the Warriors play now. Sacramento, they have their new home. That place is swanky. It's so nice. But yeah, so for me, it's like checking out the new places. My dad did go to, I like to call it Jerry's World, this Cowboy Stadium. He did get a chance to go there a couple of years ago, so I got to live through his pictures. But yeah, I do SoFi Stadium and Soldier Field.
I thought about it. I would love to go to Seahawks Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear the 12th man. I want to
Yep.
see how really loud it is.
Yep.
It's loud on TV, but I want to go there, feel it.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing. I've never been anywhere else either. Like I've been to literally hundreds of Seahawks games at this point. Because I've been going since 2002, and I've really hardly, other than a couple years, I've really hardly ever missed a lot of home games. So I'm wondering what it's going to be like in Green Bay. Like, am I going to be like, oh, this crowd is not very like energetic, like what I think it's going to be? Because us and Arrowhead are the two loudest stadiums in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where everybody else ranks, because it's just been a fight between us on who's the loudest stadium in the NFL. And they have an advantage of about 15,000 people. So that's one thing they have on us. But yeah, so I'm excited to see how loud it is in another stadium, because I'm used to being in like the loudest stadium in the NFL.
So last night, I've been to like 3 Niner games, real games. And when you go to the stadium, you're like, oh, okay, maybe this crowd's going to be different because we're playing this team, or maybe it's because it's, whatever, beginning of the season or something. But when the crowd starts to chant and they start to yell, in Levi's, if you don't know, they go, oh, oh, oh. So, Josue, do you know what they say in Lambeau? And Joe, do you know what they say up there in the Clink, or the Lumens Field?
Joe, you're muted.
I think he's talking maybe to his lady. I'm not sure. But do you know what they say? Do you know what they say up there in Lambeau?
Yeah, the most common one is just the Go Pack Go.
Okay.
That's literally the most common one that they do. I don't know if any of the other chants, because those don't ring as loud.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's just the Go Pack Go is the most universal one.
So I sit in the south end zone, and that's like the rowdiest part of the stadium, right? And I remember being at that. I think it was 2018 or 19. It was a night game, and you guys came in, and we won, not by a lot. It wasn't really a memorable game at all. But yeah, me and a couple guys, every time we got a first down, because usually they go, and that's good for a Seahawks, and everybody goes, first down. We just started saying, go back home every time. But the Packers fans travel unlike anybody else. Like I said to you, I think I said this. I think, Bryant, you were there. Maybe not. I think that David McNiner was there. Like, the Niners travel really good, but I'd put the Packers right up there with anybody. And they're the most respectful traveling fans that I've noticed out of any team in the NFL. So, props.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. My aunt and uncle, they're not season ticket holders, but they go to as many Packer games as they can. They're the type of fans that will travel with their team. They really get into it. I believe they've been to Seattle. I could be wrong on that, but they've been to San Francisco. They've been to Santa Clara. They've been to SoFi. They've been to Las Vegas. They just go. They've been to UK. They've been to UK like twice to see the Packers go over there. So I mean, I'm like, hey, shout out to them. Like if you got the money and you can do it, you got the time because they are a little bit older. And they got some decent jobs where they can take time off, and that's the whole thing. Sometimes you have to have like, employment where you can take time off. I joke all the time. I hope it doesn't come down to it. But if we go to, if it comes down to it, I'm confident I'll find a different job. But if we go to the Super Bowl and win, when we win, we'll have a parade. I will be in the parade. I'm not going to, jump on a car or anything. I'm not going to jail, but I am going to leave work to go to the parade. And you're like, there could be a fire or a flood going on at work. I'm calling in that day, guys.
Dude,
And I might call in the next day too, because by the time I get home, I'm not going to, I don't know,
Our parade, they shut the whole city down when we won the Super Bowl in 2013. Well, February of 2014. They shut the whole city down. And that was the only time I was in high school at the time. I took my little sister. Being like 4 or 5 of my friends went. And that was the only rule with my mom. She goes, if you skip school, you have to take your sister. And I was like, God damn it. But all right, sure. Anyways, that was the only day I've ever been in school. I went to the same school system. That was the only day that every single unexcused absence was excused by the school district, was the Seahawks parade. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Okay, so we know about the referee rule. The referee, the imposter refs or whatever. We know that game happened.
Replacement.
Yeah, the replacement refs, right? So let's get into that other classic game that these Packer and Seahawk guys have had. Didn't you guys lose the championship up there?
Yeah, they did. Heartbreaking fashion. I remember I wasn't at that game. That was one of the seasons where I didn't go to a lot. And I'll say the good side before Josue says the bad side of it. I remember sitting on my couch. It was like the third quarter, and my mom just comes up to me, and I'm not even like upset as I am just pissed off that the team did not show up. The Seahawks did not show up. And my mom goes, well, there's always next year. I go, there's going to be a no next year after this game. There's no next year after this game. And then, yeah, miracles happen. How about you, Josue? How'd you feel?
I mean, like, with that one, I was definitely nervous, obviously, during that. But I can't say too much about that one. That one doesn't stick to me because again, for me, the one that I always think about, like in terms of like if we're talking about like heartbreaks, it would be like the Packers when they lost in Arizona, the iconic McCarthy on his knees at the very end when Aaron Rodgers fumbled that ball, or when the Packers lost to the Giants. Like I think my hatred of Eli Manning, like really hated when we lost at home to the Giants. That was the one. That was my moment of. Like I was like just devastated, and my parents were like, "Oh, it's okay. There's next year," and I'm like, "No." And the Packers haven't really been the same after that. And that was the year the Giants won their second one, I believe. So yeah, no, with the one with the Seahawks though, like that one. I don't remember that one as much as I remember again with the replacement refs. Like that one stings a lot more.
Here's my argument to any Packers fan on that game. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
I have a question. How do you feel about the catch two?
Oh, good
You know what
question.
the catch two I'm talking about? Javier.
Yeah, no, that one I don't remember.
So the catch 2 was T.O. and Steve Young when we beat the Packers. And
Oh, that's right. I hated that one too. Like that was. I mean, To that was To. Like, I mean, as upset as I am, like mad respect because like it was To. Like, what are you gonna do?
If you rewatch that game with the replacement referees, right, just rewatch it and just try to be as unbiased as possible, which is hard. There were it wasn't just penalties or calls going towards the Seahawks. The Packers shouldn't even been ahead in that game at that point. They called a couple phantom PI calls on Richard Sherman and Brandon Browner to just get right down the field to basically win that game. And then, the fail Mary. But yeah.
At that time, so with the replacement refs, I was still at Sacramento State, and so I had my own little radio talk show then, and I did a sports talk show, and so we talked about it, and I was like, I just remember like I was upset, but by the time I got to the radio show, I was like, all right, guys, like here's the thing, I know everybody's here expecting me to like talk about that game. I'm like, the Packers should never have been in that situation to begin with. As upset as I was with the ruling, essentially. The Packers should never have been in that situation to begin with. There was a lot of missed opportunities that the team just could not capitalize on to even score. So I'm like, all right, well, like if we can't put it together, then like as upset as I am with that, like honestly, the Packers did it to themselves that game. Like they like looking back at it, like there was times just like, yeah, we could have maybe done a field goal here, field goal there. There were some things that they could have done. Yeah, it was tough though, because I mean that was again, it was in Seattle, so like it's not easy as a visiting team. So like, and I know like everybody knows like it's loud in Seattle, it's loud in Arrowhead, so you always got to practice, and so like that's just the name of the game. That's the sport. You just got to do your thing. But still, like I wasn't expecting much to begin with, but then two, again, like the Packers just had more opportunities to like put something together, but they didn't.
Yeah, dude, we had 8 sacks the first half of that game.
Yeah.
On Aaron Rodgers, we sacked him 8 times in the first
half. No, I remember.
Ooh, I would love to catch number 4 to be against the Seahawks.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't even know there was a catch 3.
It is.
Where?
Brennan, in New Orleans. Alex Smith to Vernon Davis.
Was that like 2012 or something when you guys went to the Super Bowl? No, because Kaepernick would have been starting, right?
So the catch 2 was 2011, I think. I think it was 2011. Yeah. I think it was because we
talking about the catch number 3. I was just saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Catch 3 was 2011. It was against the Saints. It was
I just looked it up. That was Alex Smith to Vernon Davis. Wow. I forgot about that.
So
yeah.
So, guys, this has been a lot of fun. Do anyone else have any questions for a Seahawk question, a Packer question, or a Niner question? If not, we'll have to try to come back and do this again here real soon. It's been just a little bit over an hour. We can go a little longer, but sometimes it's always fun to break it off before you go too long and you're like, man, I wish we would have just buried that shovel. So
right.
Appreciate everyone for coming. And once again, I think all 3 of our teams, we made the point. They all need to stop that run.
Yeah.
I think we got good corners. Joe's got good corners. I think, the Packers have decent corners. The Niners, we've drafted some corners. We got good linebackers. And I know not everybody's starting right now. We don't have Bosa there, but you guys don't have a Bosa. We have a Bosa. Okay. But you guys can't stop the run, and we can't stop it either. So, us fixing our problem with Bosa, which I don't think that's going to fix our problem. But how are you guys going to fix your problem? It's the same thing. It's like if you can't stop the run, you're going to get gashed. And just like what Russell Wilson did yesterday, he ran right up the middle every chance he got. And I was glad when they took him out. I was very glad they took him out. I was like, they're going to beat us with Russell Wilson. And
You guys got to stop making him look good. He stinks. He sucks.
oh my gosh, I was like, I was getting ready to let's ride until he said, "You better not, Bryant." I was like, "I'm not going to." She said, "You put your phone away right now," and I did. I put it away for a minute.
I was rooting for your guys' defense yesterday, and I didn't even really watch the game. But if you say Russ looks good, that's not him. You guys did something wrong because there is nothing that man could do right. So
No, if he plays the same way he plays, like any time he's been in Seattle, and he gets the wide receivers to spread out, eventually he can throw a pass. But that's not what he's trying to do now. He's trying to get you guys to go all wide, get a big old pocket in the middle, and he's busting up the middle. And you're like, why? Can you not throw anymore or what? And then he'll throw once or twice, and you get scared again. But I don't think he wants to throw anymore. I think there's something. Up with him. So that's my thoughts on the Russell Wilson. But
Yeah, I think though when Bosa come back, defensive line is gonna change a little bit. Sometimes this one person can bring all the hype, make you get better. There's one person that can change the game, change your defense. So right now, all the defense players, the offense is not worried. It's Bosa's not there. So when Bosa's there, it's gonna be the offensive players gonna be worried.
I watched a couple plays of your guys' game yesterday. I thought Hargrave looked pretty good.
yeah,
Yep.
we got some guys that are going to start looking better and better. We had 3 wide receivers that did pretty well yesterday too, and Debo did play pretty well in the beginning, and that's not one of the wides I was talking about. 86, 17, and Bell. I can't think of everyone's name, but it's Sneed and I can't think of the other guy's name right now, but they did pretty good. But real quick, we got a question from John Jay, and I think it's kind of funny. Joe, what did Wilson do to you?
Not to me, the city. He abandoned the city. He demanded that Pete Carroll and John Schneider get fired, the people that built this. Basically built us into a winning organization. And then, the Allen Trust said, fine, go ahead and walk.
All right.
And then he denied it. We had him all set up to get traded to the Eagles last offseason, and he said, no, I'm vetoing that. He didn't want to play for the Eagles. He chose the Denver Broncos instead.
In hindsight, that's we can't walk away from that one. Hindsight, would he have won a Super Bowl with the Eagles? I think he would have.
I don't think so.
I don't. I think he's such a toxic person that everything's me. And it was not like that until I'd say about 2019. Really is when it took full effect, where it was me. So,
like, even ignoring that, like the Chiefs, and more specifically Patrick Mahomes, is just too good. Like especially if you're just gonna, let's say hypothetically both defenses were non-existent and it was just a shootout. If you're telling me there's gonna be a shootout between Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, the safest bet is to always bet on Mahomes right now. No offense to every other 31 quarterbacks in the league. Right now, it's Mahomes' league and everybody else is just happy to be here. So
I don't know.
that's all I got to say.
But think about it, though, with Russell Wilson just being on the Eagles instead of Jalen Hurts. And, we know Jalen Hurts got hurt last year, but it hurts. The way he plays football, if he could have taken his Seahawks scrambling backyard football to Philadelphia, where they primarily were running the ball. And I mean, like, I
But
don't
he didn't
know,
want to
man.
do that. His ego's too big. He did not want to run the ball last year. He wouldn't
Okay.
have done that.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. I see it. Yeah,
You
he
saw
went
last year where there was just wide open lanes to run. He'd throw an incomplete pass instead. You started to see that with the Seahawks.
And I think when you look at the Eagles, like the Eagles are a youngish team. They're obviously older than my Packers squad right now. My Packers squad's really young, but the Eagles is still a relatively youngish squad with some veterans on there. And so I think that what Jalen Hurts brings as a leader to the team is vastly different than what Russell Wilson would have brought. Especially because again, like when you look at Jalen Hurts, like he is hungry. Like, you know, there was the big talk of the town, like during the offseason, because there's nothing else to talk about how he still has on his phone the wallpaper of him losing at the Super Bowl. Like, you know, he's like, that's just his reminder of, well, we lost, but we're going to get back. And the next time it's going to be different. Like, the man is obviously hungry. And I think that the locker room behind the Eagles respects that. Whereas I think it would have been a much different vibe with Russell Wilson. I'm not saying that Russell Wilson couldn't have taken the Eagles there. I'm just saying it would have been a different vibe.
Yeah, now I'm starting to think maybe that maybe he wouldn't have, but I don't know. Like if what Joe's saying is correct and his ego's too big, which I could totally see that. I just like wow. If you can't put your ego to the side and say I want to win, at the end, once you get that Super Bowl, nobody can ever take it away from you, right? So I mean, what's it matter if you run, if you pass, if you kick your way to a championship? At the end of the day, you become immortal, right? You know, like you'll live in infamy, right? Like,
yeah,
Because he's never had an MVP vote and bitches about it all the time. And he still doesn't have an MVP vote. He's never gotten one.
Joe might be onto something right there, guys.
He
Might
was
be.
saying, the Athletic wrote an article about him saying that he felt like Pete Carroll and the Seattle coaching staff was hampering his ability to win individual awards, and that's why he wanted it gone. If you're worried about individual awards, I don't want you on the team.
Nah, because at the end of the day, it's not stats that lift the Lombardi; it's a team. So, you know, look at Dan Marino, best quarterback in the league. Shout out to Mama Alvarez, best quarterback in the league for several years, for what, almost 20 years. We can really say he was a top 3 quarterback from the time he stepped into the league to the time he finished. His last game was horrible. We won't talk about that, but he didn't win a Super Bowl. You know, he has all the stats, but he didn't win a Super Bowl. And yeah, David. Sorry, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. Now imagine Dan Marino today after Tom Brady winning 7. Imagine Dan Marino today, because it was always the debate who's better, Montana or Marino, and people would always use, well, Montana had rings. If you don't get a ring as a quarterback today, they don't want you. Right. Honest to God, it is way different than it was back then.
No, and that's true too. And it's funny because like before Joe Montana was there, we had Terry Bradshaw, and he got 4 rings, but he didn't get the credit. Mm-hmm. Then Joe Montana comes in, he gets the credit for the rings. And the Niners had a good team. They had it just as good of a team as the Steelers. But we have a question before we get out of here. I'd like to get Corey and David's thoughts. David first. Is Trey Mason securing the third running back spot over others TDP? So I think
first things first, I think he means Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
And yes, I honestly believe he is, because when it comes to pass protection, TDP is trash. And that's a big part of our offense moving forward is going to be passing the ball. And this is just from what we've seen. So, yeah, Jordan Mason is definitely going to be securing the third RB spot.
Yeah, I think it's CMC. I think it's Mitchell. And then it's going to be Jordan Mason at this point. I think if TDP keeps his spot, he'll be RB4. And Corey, what's your thoughts? Similar thoughts, or do you see
Similar.
it similar? And then
But I want to
go ahead.
ask y'all a question. Did y'all see? I don't know who posted it, but there's a video where Fred Warner lays out Nick Bosa. What? And Nick Bosa looked up like, God, you are a missile.
Oh wow, some kind of practice play or something. It must have been like a year ago or something. Then, huh?
Yeah, it was I think we were playing against somebody, and Nick Bosa went in one way, and Fred Warner's coming in one way, and bam!
Oh wow.
And Fred Warner said, "Oh, sorry." He picked up Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa said, "You are a missile."
Well, I have to look for that. Last thoughts, guys. I'm going to start it out. We'll go to Jose, and we'll go to Joe, David, and Corey. You guys know how to find us. Please like and subscribe to our channels. Josue is going to be coming on more and more. I'm going to be dragging him out of his studio, whatever I got to do, get him a new green screen, whatever I got to do. I'm bringing the heat, and he's bringing the cheese because he's a Packer fan, right? So,
Yep.
I think last night's game was awesome for the Niners, and I'm really happy to see them use the tight ends, and I was really happy to see them use Jake Coletto. So, or Jack Coletto, I'm so sorry. And I think he did great, and really, really looking forward to seeing if him and Ronnie Bell can make the team. I think those two are my camp guys. So, Josue, what do you think about your Packers right now, and what's your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it in the beginning, but again, things are looking pretty good overall. Like it's not gonna be like I'm not expecting like, you know, like the best record ever or anything of that nature. But I am hopeful. Maybe the season's maybe not it. Aaron Rodgers' first season in like as starter was trash. So like, you know, it's not, I'm not expecting like the best this season. I'm just hoping to see that semblance there. So I'm excited for what's to come. Obviously, I was really like excited with the tight end Luke Musgrave, so I think his name we'll be hearing that more often. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how the Packers offense puts it together. Next week last week of preseason we go against Seattle, so that'll be fun. That'll be fun, and then the Bears to open up the season. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
I like it. I like it. We're going to have you on more and more so we can get more and more of that too. Joe, what's your thoughts? How are you feeling with the training camp, the preseason, and your overall look of anything you want to say?
I just think, you know, if we're going to overall record predictions here, I think we could be a 10-11 win team. And we just got to close that gap with you guys, which is going to be really hard to do. But it's not impossible, it's improbable. So I think I was talking to Ted, I think we got I'm going to give you guys a 69% chance to win the division. I'll give us a 30% chance to win the division. I'll give the Cardinals and Rams those other 0.5% because you can't. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is closer to impossible than possible. So, yeah, no, I like Boye Mafe a lot. I like Bobo a lot. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I do really appreciate it. Sorry for rambling on.
No, man, that's why we want you to come on, have fun, talk a little bit in the morning. When you have time, we'll do it again. We did see Ravens, Darwin, Levi. He's got such a fun name, and I get it butchered every time. I'm so sorry. But Levi popped in, and we'll try to get him on sometime, with all of us as well, so we can get his Raven thoughts. David McNiner, my buddy, my good co-host, really, truly, really, really, really do appreciate you. What's your thoughts overall, and as well as if you want to plug anything or let anybody know anything, but again, your thoughts on the Niners, the preseason, and anything you got looking forward to.
I'm actually looking forward to Ronnie Bell being on the 53, and when it comes to our roster, I think it's going to be tough to not keep are those young linebackers we have, McCrary, Ball, Winters, Jalen Graham. It's going to be tough to not keep them. So, and this upcoming week, of course, we got to have the Niners coast to coast on 49ers First Takes tomorrow evening. We have the show with Corey Davis tonight when we'll be discussing the game, more in depth. And as the week goes, we'll just have to see what happens. This upcoming Wednesday, who do we have, Bryant? Do we have a current guest for the McNiner Culp / Culp and McNiner show?
Oh, we most certainly do have a guest. Now, that evening will be a little bit busy for me because I will be going on East Coast Red and Gold. Just as soon as that cuts off, we will be going, me and you, live with Miss Peachy Brown, Crystal Brown. So if you guys don't know, you should know. She is awesome. She is one of the ladies of the Empire, and she also does a lot of work with Wayne Breezy and Moe's Nose. And there's just, John Chapman, they do a great thing. So if you're ever at a game, she usually goes to games, tailgates, does all kinds of stuff. So we'll have her come on and talk and work out the schedule with her. I will have to, again, clarify my schedule with East Coast Red and Gold, how long that time is going to be on, because they've invited Tony, my wife, and Terradome on for that evening. And really quickly, Tuesday night, I was able to be invited on to Niner Faithful Radio with TJ and Jason Niner Smashy. And I will make sure that I put out the notifications for that and share it on my community tab and my Twitter and Facebook, because they want to break down the schedule, not the schedule, the game with me on over what happened on Saturday. So that will be a lot of fun. But I'll be more likely on Corey's show tonight and, continuing to just go along. And then, of course, anything that pops up as well. And then Corey's show on Thursday. But Corey, I'm so sorry to take your glory. Will you let us know how you're doing? I know you did have a procedure. I didn't want to elude you too much, but everybody, I let them know how you're under, and just send prayers. So you got a lot of people out there in the community that was sending you wishes and prayers, and really glad that you're feeling better. And if there's anything that you want to add, let everybody know, about your show tonight or anything. Really do appreciate you as well.
Well, like I said before, I love this game. I love how all three quarterbacks played, and I loved our receivers, how they did yesterday. And yes, I will be having a show tonight. And now one of my subjects gotta change. I was gonna talk about how saying that Cal Shanahan need to follow Indianapolis Colts head coach by naming our starter quarterback, and he's already did it. I'm like, God darn it, that's gonna be more on the subject. Why can Cal do that? Now he did it, so that's taken off the book. and
Well,
and so yes, I'm doing good. My arm swelling is going down. The surgery went successful. So I'm getting a lot of feeling I'm gonna be able to get back on my bike. I love that. So I'm doing good. And thank you for all the prayers. That's why I was wondering how everybody knows. And I haven't really put it out there. I'm like, oh.
well,
So thank you, Brian.
I don't like telling other people's business, but if they politely say it, like you did say it a little bit on your show the other day, so I thought it might just be just drop it small and not say too much, because if people really need to know, then they'll reach out to you, and if you're comfortable, then they'll say it. But just telling somebody to think of you and put you in their thoughts and their wishes, and that really does go a long way. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This is one of those things that's really it's intriguing to me. It's not a beautiful thought, but it's really something that you can kind of think about for a minute. Nobody ever dies. Nobody ever dies. Do you know when you're finally gone? It's the day that your name is last spoken. So as long as someone has a memory of you, or you've done something significant, or at some point in time somebody brings your name up, you could be dead for 200 years. They bring your name up, they talk about you, you're existing again. So if anybody here, again, we appreciate y'all coming. Thank you for joining the team, the panel. If anybody ever in the chat wants to jump on, just reach out to us and we'll try to make it happen. We like talking 49ers, having a cup of coffee, nice beverage or something to drink. We know there's different times of the country that this is being streamed to, and we just appreciate your little bit of time. Next week, we'll be back at it Saturday, Sunday, and we'll keep chugging along. So with that, guys, I'm going to say it. Go Niners. I know you guys want to say your teams. It's not ever an issue. That's why we have you guys here, because if we can't compete, we can't, meet up, then what are we doing? We're just tagging each other in the locker room, and that ain't no fun, right? So, Jesus, Josue, I'm bad with names, man. I am so bad. I read your name. I already know what it is in my head, and I read it, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Why did you say that like that? So that's why I always call you Alvarez. You know that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Throws me off too if it makes you feel any better.
Just a little bit, but I've known him since high school, so I really feel
right.
now.
Well, and again, like with Bryant, and I think I mentioned this like the first time that Bryant brought me on. Like Bryant knew me, so like prior to college, I always went by Josh because Josue is Spanish for Joshua, and so I always went by Josh. And so Bryant, we grew up together with him knowing me as Josh. And then I had like my moment in college where I'm like, oh man, I'm proud to be a Latino. I'm going to actually go by my real name now. And so I didn't really force people who knew me or grew up with me to like call me by my real name. Cause I'm like, man, y'all got 4+ years on this. Like, you're not going to break this habit.
I'm trying.
But everybody in college and everybody at work, they got to call me Josue. Like those are the rules. So,
yep. So you guys all know him as Josue. I know him as Josh, my brother, my buddy. I mean, if he knows if he needs a kidney or something, and we're a match, he can have half of it, whatever you need. But with that, guys, thank you so much for coming. We hope you had fun. We definitely always have fun. And again, you don't have to necessarily like the Niners. You don't. Oh, sorry, Joe. Say Josue, please shout out the Packers. Joe, I don't want to cut you off either. Seahawks, and we'll all say go Niners, and we'll get out of here, guys.
Go ahead, Josue.
yeah, just go Pack, go.
I love it.
Seahawks country, let's fly.
Let's fly. David, Corey, you ready?
Go 49ers.
Go Niners and F the Lambs.
Go 49ers and F all them teams.
Hey.
Shout out the ladies of the Empire. Don't forget to pull up to Tony Culp Saturday nights. Watch that. That show is always fire.
Always fire. And David does a great job to help remind me to shout her out. She always gets off. I get off the show and she comes and says, Brian, do you forget to shout my show out? And I'm like, no, I just have a really good panel that remembers to shout them out. So please check out Tony. Ladies of the Empire, Tony, Toni, CULP. That's my lovely wife. She's got a great panel. A lot of girls come on. They talk 49ers. So please check them out on Saturday. They didn't have a show yesterday. Obviously, we were at the game. But you guys will hopefully be able to tune in next Saturday. And, with that, guys, stay faithful. Go Niners.
Always go Niners.